is cardiac. Catch me in the Muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy, we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go, Brownies. Stand up. Here we go, Brownies. Let's go. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps. Hand for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go, Brownies. Stand up. Here we go, Brownies. Let's go.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Mr. Heroes turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Join with me as always. We've got Dustin in Cleveland. Dustin, obviously, very disappointing today. It was a kind of a nasty weather. Obviously, you were there. You were freezing your butt off, I'm sure. Browns come away with a loss to the Niners, 26-8. They were in it until they weren't. Special teams was a disaster. Let's get into it. Your kind of quick thoughts. I mean, first off, paint the picture. You were there. Tell us about the experience.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it was great. I got to see the vertical arm of Shedeur Sanders again. I was like, we have to be a little aggressive going into halftime. I don't like the defense giving up that touch, to make it 10-8 going into halftime. But I got to tell you, I felt pretty damn optimistic at halftime. The Browns were in this game. The defense, bend, don't break in this first half. So I was pretty happy about that. I think most people liked what they were seeing from their Cleveland Browns. And then, we're going to get into it, but the special teams just was a catastrophe in the second half, giving them a short field on the 20-yard line. Like, what the hell are we doing here? And that was kind of the tale of two halves for this Browns football game. Very competitive half. Browns were doing what they needed to do on offense. Defense was keeping them in the game. And then this was a tale of two different teams in this game. And so I'm not sure how the special teams coach keeps his job after today. I got to witness it firsthand in New York with the punt and the kickoff return. Like, this is unacceptable. To your point, we talked about this offline. You can't be doing stuff out of bounds. That was a free 15 yards that you just gave away when you make that catch. It's unfortunate that just rears its ugly head every single week. Special teams is such a glaring issue on this football team, and there's only one way to fix it.
Yeah, it's true. Like we said offline, it's not Bubba Ventrone is not the one out there making these plays, but it's obviously still he's the position coach. He's the one kind of taking the heat for this, as he should. My issue isn't so much with the muffed punt. Obviously, that's just an unfortunate situation. Kind of a weather. It's a weather game. The wind was nasty.
Yeah, very nasty.
It sucks. It is what it is. My issues are with catching the ball when the ball was clearly going out of bounds off the kick. That sucks. That's, like you said, free yards. And also just the coverage continues to be an issue. Obviously, that's how they got they kind of flipped the field there. They were able to get really great field position, go down and score. That just sucks. You can't have it. And it comes down to a lack of discipline, which has just been the story of this team week in and week out, no matter what. Look, the Browns were hanging in there. They were able to capitalize. They went for two on that. After the touchdown, they were up, and then they weren't, and then it just kind of piled up from there. So obviously it's frustrating. A lot of blame going towards the coaching staff. Overall, though, it was nice to see Shedeur, getting another start. He looked a little bit more comfortable. He's able to navigate the pocket. Week in and week out, I'm seeing more from him that I'm feeling optimistic about. Did you see the sideline conversation the heated conversation, if you will, between him and Jerry Jeudy? I don't know if you saw that yet, but that's floating around out there. So there's just some
That's okay though, right? Like that's a wide receiver kind of in the trenches talking to his quarterback. Like that, I'm okay with that at the end of the day. That means at least you give a damn. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's just like, there's going to be those kind of things. I mean, hello, Tom Brady is 7-time quarterback, Super Bowl winners, getting in heated conversations with his wide receivers, right? Like whatever. Like it is.
My issue is with Jerry's consistent attitude.
I mean, if you want to get into that, like that's a whole other.
He was the one giving it to Shador. It's not Shador handing it to him. It was Jerry in his face, and that's what I kind of have a problem with. And it's look, we weren't there, we don't know what was said, but just continued frustration, and it's just piling as obviously the NFL season kind of continues here. But let's get into it. Let's unpack the stats, if you will, real quick. Want to tell you about our friends over at City Mustard, Lorella Vineyard, City Barbecue, Lady Caroline Cruise Ship, Greater Cleveland Aquarium, and of course, We Bleed Ohio. Please be sure to check all of them out. Let's get into it. Defensively, Browns, I mean, they were able to kind of contain Christian for compared to what he's been able to do all season. Christian McCaffrey had 20 carries for 53 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. He was averaging 2.7 a pop. That's pretty good. You can't ask for much more in terms of that. Brian Robinson Jr., 8 carries for 26 yards. Obviously, Brock Purdy had a rushing touchdown. You don't like that. George Kittle, he was the leading receiver, 4 catches for 67 yards. Juwan Jennings, 4 for 39. And then McCaffrey, 4 for 21. So, I mean, it wasn't like the Niners were just blowing the Browns away offensively. Brock Purdy, 16 of 29 for 168, 1 touchdown. He was sacked once. And then, of course, the Browns offense, Shador Sanders, 16 of 25 for 149, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times. Quinshon had a pretty good day, 23 carries for 91 yards. He was averaging 4 a pop. Dylan Sampson, who continues to just shine, 4 for 23. His speed is, really, really nice to see. He had a couple of big ones there. He had his longest was 9, Quinshon's longest was 17. Harold Fannin Jr., 3 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 3 for 26. So, I mean, nothing really blowing you out of the water from either of these two teams offensively. But just one highlight continues to be this rookie class, Dustin. We mentioned Harold Fannin Jr., Shador Sanders, Dylan Sampson, Quinshon. Defensively, obviously, Carson Swessinger just continues to be, making plays, always be at the play, if you will. Mason Graham continues to be explosive. This is the highlight of the season, is what this rookie class is able to do.
Yeah, and it's funny, you mentioned, the final score of this game. It looks very similar to the score that the Niners had on Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
The other team had not. I'm like, it almost looks like deja vu. Like, here's the thing. The Niners are a good team, but they're not a great team, right? Like, I mean, today they weren't scaring me. Myles Garrett, we can highlight, he gets another sack. He's now 19 on the season. Now he's 3.5 away from tying the record. So he's getting closer and closer. I know he's going to break it. But Shador, again, did some great things, owned it after the football game, said it wasn't a great game. I'll learn from this. I'll look at the tape, made it all about him. I like that. And then very quickly, without even flinching, Stefanski was very quick to name Shador Sanders a starter again next week. So I feel, based on what I saw at the game and what I see and what I hear from people, I just think Sanders should get the ball the rest of the year unless it's barring injury. Like at this point, he's doing more with the offense. He's getting more comfortable. And by the way, we got 5 games with Dylan Gabriel. We know, I feel like he started good and then he just kind of plateaued. Like that was it. Like we didn't get any more out of him. If Shador is going to be a guy that maybe we can run back next year, I think you got to give him the rest of the season, right? And I think that's kind of what you have to do with this guy and just see what you got.
I expect that to probably be the case. I mean, look, you don't have to really know X's and O's to kind of be able to see that his ceiling is a little bit higher from what we can tell. And we knew that. I mean, he was in so many mock drafts. He was slated to be a 1st or 2nd round pick, right? And he falls to the 5th round. So obviously the talent's there. He's played a lot of football. But you're right. that he kind of elevates the rest of the offense a little bit more. There's just a little bit more optimism when you watch a Shedeur Sanders-led Browns offense. A little bit more to see. So I would expect him to, obviously barring injury, be the starter from here on out. Somewhat scary situation when he went out for a play today. Everybody was concerned with what that was, but seems like he's okay. But you're right. I mean, this Niners team isn't really that good. Of course, they've been decimated by injury on the defensive side of the ball, but still they're a good team. And it was still good to see that Shedeur was able to take some continued steps in the right direction, even against a pretty solid defense, Dustin.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's a well-coached team. This is Shanahan, right? So, I mean, this is already, you're getting a good coach coming at you. He's going to game plan for you. And, but at the end of the day, I think the Browns beat themselves today. Like when you think of it, and we can go back to special teams in this game. Start off the bat, you give them the ball at the 25-yard line because of the run back. So short field, boom, 7-0. And then you give them the ball again on the 20-yard line with the muffed, okay, there's 14 points right there. Like if your special teams are in position to stop that, the Browns weren't giving them a lot today. You know what I'm saying? Like they were giving them chunk plays, but when you give a team the ball at the 20 twice, like that's just giving them 6 or 14 at the very least, or at the most. So, okay, Browns, okay, like what's the score of this game if special teams does their job today? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what's crazy to me is like you look at these games and you see the score, and then when you dive deep into the game a little more, you're like, well, that's really not even really the score doesn't dictate what happened in this football game because you gave them like a very short field and time of possession in this game was the same. Like when you do that, you're just going to lose football games. Like it's just frustrating.
There was a graphic shown during the game that the Niners were getting the ball, whether that was, either from punt or kickoff, pretty much at their 45, and the Browns were getting it at the 20. So they just had better field position all day. Right. And you just can't have that. Like you're right though. The Browns should find ways to beat themselves. And that continues to be the issue. It's not for lack of the talent. I mean, there are issues with this team. We know the holes in this roster, but they just can't find ways to win. And that is one of my biggest, just critiques of Kevin Stefanski is, you've been doing this for several years now. How have you not figured out a way to develop some kind of winning culture? That is the expectation that no matter what on a Sunday, we're going to try to find a way. And it just seems like once things kind of go wrong, they just are so quick to give up. And that's what's disheartening. That's what sucks. And as a fan, it's makes it not very fun to do this, Well,
yeah. And I think the silver lining in all of this is this rookie class, right? They are rookies, but man, even in this kind of lost season, we'll call it, they're balling out. Yeah. I mean, Fannon's balling out. I mean, Schlesinger was everywhere on the field today. He was on I feel like he was every time there was a tackle or a situation, he was there. Like this kid is and he's a rookie. And someone was brought up when we were upstairs. They're like, when's the last time a rookie in the NFL had a green dot from day one? On a defense.
Tackles on the day, by the way.
10 tackles? Yeah. I mean, I'm not shocked by that because every time I looked up, he was in on the play. Like he was the guy that was around the ball. So, I mean, think about that. He's a rookie. What's he gonna look like next year with the whole offseason and training camp? Like this kid's gonna be special. And then Fannon's obviously gonna get more touches. Mm-hmm. And Quinshon's already looking to be a star. I mean, I know I'm a big Ashton Genty fan, but hey, I'll just call it for what it is. Quinshon Judkins has the most rushing, the most yards for a rookie this year, and he didn't play one game. He played one less game than Ashton Genty. So he's proving to be that guy, right? So, and then Mason Graham the last 2 or 3 weeks, I see big improvement in him. I'm excited, the way he's starting to take off. This team, when we look at it next year, if we can hit on some draft picks again next year, we've got something really good that we're building here. And it's just going to come down to who that quarterback is. I mean, unfortunately, that's the 800-pound gorilla, elephant, whatever you want to call it in the room. And the Browns, I mean, and that's just the truth. You live or die with your quarterback. But I mean, I think that's really the problem with the Browns, because you go out and you get an offensive tackle and some wide receivers, like you got something special you can build on offense for sure with Judkins and to your point, Sampson. I mean, look at him. He's starting to really blossom. I mean, that could be, I was talking about it today with Dylan and Judkins. You could turn this into that 1-2 punch that you had with Kareem Hunt. You could recreate that, because these guys can really be that if the offensive line can get better and be that kind of team that wears teams down in the third and fourth quarter. That's, I think, what we can build here. And by the way, we were doing that in the first half, because Judkins was getting 7 and 6 yard chunks, like boom, boom. I'm like, hey, that's the old Browns of 2023 right there. Those big
That's
chunks.
the issue, though, is the offensive line. Unfortunately, we'll have a lot to talk about on Wednesday. You lose Malik Collins. He goes down. Jack Conklin was out with a concussion.
Yep.
Ethan Posick goes out. Luke Whippler came in. Then Ethan came back. We're going to have a lot to talk about in terms of the injury standpoint. But unfortunately, this offensive line is not what it was. And it's tough. And that's one of the reasons that you're not seeing more than approximately about 4 yards a pop from Quinshon, I think, is because these holes aren't there.
Right.
We need help on the offensive line. And this is a good year to have maybe a couple of, 2 first-round picks, and maybe we can go out and find a tackle, because it is desperately needed, both right and left tackle, as Jack continues to just battle the injury bug. But also want to tell you about our friends over at Lake Erie Distillery, Mr. Hero, of course, Primetime Sports and Framing, Crystal John Tony, and Southern Tier Brewery. Dustin, any closing thoughts here as we wrap up?
Yeah, I just, obviously the Titans are coming to town. This is a very winnable football game. If this is kind of a weird thing to say, maybe a game, and we'll obviously talk about this on the big show on Wednesday, but, a team that we can get better, like tune some things up. Maybe it's a good game for Shedeur to get some things right. But yeah, I just think, this is going to be interesting. We got, coming into the next 4 games, we got the Bills, we got, the Bears. We got some tough games. This is going to be some tough test. I'm not worried about our defense, because our defense will just play well no matter who the heck they're playing. But these will be some good tests for Shedeur Sanders. And I think, by the way, at the end of the season, I think we'll have a really good idea if he's somebody that we can roll back with next year, because he's going to have some opponents that are really bad, and then he's going to have some teams that are playoff bound. So this will be a really good test for him.
And that's why they play him, because you have to have that answer, at the end of the season when you go into the
here's the thing.
You need to know what you're going to do.
Yeah, you got 2 first-round draft picks, and if you're going to leverage that and try to move up to get a quarterback because you don't think you got the guy, you got to give this guy the runway, because I do think he can be something special. But I think the reason he didn't start till, even barring the injury to Dylan, I just don't think he was ready yet. We talk about his footwork. We talk about him running back out of the pocket instead of running up into the pocket. So there's some things that he definitely needs to still work on, and hopefully he'll get better with that. But you're right. The ceiling for him is better than probably Dylan at this point, and at least we got to see how high that ceiling is at the end of the day.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. Real quick before we wrap up, here's a quick word from our friends over at Mr. Hero.
SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, where will we all go? SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, I crave a hero.
All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.